Is it a speaker? Is it an instrument? The very first thing I'm going to mention is that this video is not sponsored by Teenage Engineering. They sent me this magical speaker knowing that historically I would be making some content with it, and here we are. They are in no way influencing my thoughts and opinions on the OB-4. This video is, however, sponsored by DistroKid. They are a music distribution platform. If you're looking to get your music onto official platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, etc., DistroKid is a very solid option. I'll be showing you my streaming stats later in this video. So I've been posting a lot of mini reviews of the OB-4 over on TikTok, and just like all other Teenage Engineering products, people are very interested but also very confused at the same time. To be honest, I was also pretty confused at first. Like, what is this thing for? What does it do? Is it an instrument? Is it just a speaker? It's sort of in between those two things, but in a very quirky Teenage Engineering way. The very first thing that really struck me is that there's no output, which makes it one step more difficult to use as an actual recording instrument. You'd have to mic it in that case. I've been thinking that it's more of like a live on the fly type thing, but even that's debatable. Like other portable Bluetooth speakers, Bose, Sonos, and others, when you're routing through the input right here, there's a latency issue which discourages certain live performance settings. You're able to loop and sample via Bluetooth, in which case there are no latency issues. We're going to look at that a little bit later in the video. So the part that comes out of left field is that it has sampling and instrument-like features, like being able to sample and loop an external audio source. So that being an external instrument streaming via Bluetooth or the radio.
Tu l'as placé dans
l'axe lors du dernier match. C'est la première fois de la saison, sauf erreur, à la saison, sauf erreur, à la saison, sauf erreur.
If you're a Teenage Engineering fan, and I'm assuming you are if you're here, you might be thinking that the OP1 could do this as well. And you're right. But in addition to being a very high quality speaker, the OB-4 has a little bit more flexibility than the OP1 in this sampling realm, which we'll be exploring. But first, let's talk about design and aesthetic, which I think is a really important aspect of all Teenage Engineering's gear. All of their designs are interesting, quirky, and somehow just make you want to pick up the instrument and explore. I will say that it's an attention grabber, obviously. I've brought it to one event so far and everyone was interested in asking about it. When I showed them the features, it blew their minds, but some of them did question the practicality of the instrument.
Isn't like anything else. Never has been. We're different. The square peg and round hole type.
Two people actually considered getting one, with further consideration once I mentioned the price. It's worth mentioning that it's very greedy with Bluetooth. If you connect to it once, it will auto-prioritize to your phone and just latch onto everything in its path. So in that case, you'd have to disconnect to stop it or just turn off your Bluetooth. It looks like something you'd find at IKEA. It's portable with this nice handle here. As suggested by TE, I've got this antenna stretched over the handle for the best radio reception. It comes in black and red. I decided to go with the black one. Because of the type of material that it is, it's like a matte plastic sort of deal. It stains really easily. I'm still in the new car phase, so I'm trying to keep it as clean as possible, and it's a bit of a challenge for sure. Teenage Engineering does offer cases, which I am considering. Okay, let's explore how it sounds as a speaker. Like most portable speakers, the low end is very punchy and clear. It is extremely and surprisingly loud for its size. Ideal for live and outdoor events, parties. Let's actually hear it though. I've got it mic'd up in my studio with the Zoom H5, which is clean and flat to give you an idea of what it actually sounds like. Starting with a close mic setup. There is no EQ choice selection, so what you hear is what you get. And what you get is quality. Teenage Engineering is advertising the OB-4 as the magic radio. So let's talk about what makes it different from the rest and brings it more into that sampling instrument realm. Just a side note, I'm going to be using my own music because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But basically anything that I do to my own music in terms of sampling and looping, you could do the same thing with the radio as well. And my music is available on all streaming platforms through DistroKid. Let's do a quick run through of the functions that the OB-4 currently has. And I say currently because I'm sure that there are updates coming at some point. And all of the apps are available through Teenage Engineering's OB-4 software. It's called OrthoPlay. I'm currently set to Bluetooth, and if I want to switch, I just hit the input button right here.
One of the most glorious lines I think that Reagan ever comes out.
So let's just start by playing one of my tracks. This is on Spotify. And so if I want, I can rewind this. Right? So let me turn this back down. There is a 2-hour recording buffer, which I've never even gotten close to, so plenty to work with there. So let me turn this back up, and I look at this in terms of playheads. So if I rewind it, I'm creating a new playhead. And if I want to bounce back to the Spotify playhead, I just press play. And that's where Spotify is. So I'm gonna rewind it one more time. And if I want to, I could fast forward back to the playhead as well. There's the playhead. You could change the speed of your audio by holding input. So same sort of concept as before, it's slowing down the audio that you're hearing while still keeping track of the live Spotify playhead. Same thing with the radio. So let's turn this up again. And if you rewind your music back far enough, you're able to actually speed it up as well. So let's do that. Rewind. Here's the speed. You're able to loop audio sources as well. So let's turn this back up, and I want to loop it at a slower tempo. So let's slow it down. Okay, getting ready for the loop. 1, 4, 2, 3, 4. And that's the loop. Is the timing good? Nice. You could actually see the tape looping right here. Just wait for it to bounce back. There it is. So that's the loop. Let's hear it. Quite cool. Not gonna lie, it's a little bit difficult to create like exact chops. You might have to try a few times to nail it, but it's no issue because you could just rewind to your starting point anyways. So from here, let's turn it back up. And you're able to jump back and forth within the loop. I'll show you what I mean. So this is a full loop, half the loop, quarter notes, eighth notes, okay, 16th notes, and I think there's 30-second notes. Okay. So that's a really fun function for live looping. You're also able to jump to the next 4 bars of the track as well. So hit play and you could slide. Right? So that's the next loop. I could go backwards as well.
Yeah.
Right, so there's some flexibility there. And you can really just run through the whole track like this if you wanted to. Next section. So then it stops there. There must have been a break when I was playing it. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the concept that takes the OB-4 a step further in terms of sampling than the OP1. There's just a lot more flexibility there. Next is disc, which has a few functions. If I skip over to radio, I could go to disc and add a lot of reverb to the radio. There's also an ambient playlist that's programmed into the OB-4 if you want to just chill Head to that. I believe it's 2 hours of ambience. The final feature at this point is the metronome, which is also on disc. Let's head over to that. And of course, you could change the tempo of the metronome. I think up to, what is it? A ridiculous tempo. Jeez. Up to 800 beats per minute. Let's see how far down we could go. All the way to 1 beat per minute. Right now, the metronome sound is set to kick, but if you want, you could change it to a click, like a classic metronome sound. I gotta say that the metronome feature is kind of random. There's no way of integrating it into sampling. It's just a metronome coming through a speaker. Something that would have come in very handy during my university days when I was practicing drums all the time. So those are the features of the OB-4. Let me explain how I use it within my own setup. I've looked over all of the OB-4 features up to this point. I've had it for a few months now, and here are my thoughts at this point. I mean, it must have been intentional, but I don't really see the OB-4 as an instrument. It's just a really high quality speaker with some quirky features. That being said, it is the best tool in my arsenal for sampling and looping the radio. I could definitely see myself doing a sampling session where I just find dope and legal samples from the radio, but then I have to mic the speaker, which is an extra step and sort of discourages me a little bit. The OB-4 has replaced my highest quality Bluetooth speaker because the quality is just so strong. I also weirdly find myself listening to music at 0.9 or 0.8 speed. There's just something satisfying about that, and it's something to my knowledge you can't do with any other speaker. For the most part, I'm a headphone guy and I do pretty much everything in headphones, but this speaker has encouraged me to jam without my headphones. Sometimes it's just nice to hear your music like in an open room through a speaker. That being said though, if I'm jamming or doing some sort of live performance, I have to adapt to the slight latency of the OB-4, which is frustrating. Aesthetic is something that's important for someone like me, and if I post something using the OB-4, it just looks good, it cleans up aesthetically, like all of Teenage Engineering stuff. So if you're a content or media creator, then that's something that's important. It's definitely loud enough for outdoor events or maybe even smaller gigs. I actually didn't mention this at all, but you could technically use this as an amp for smaller gigs as well, if you're able to adapt to that very slight latency. And yeah, that's my 2 cents. So let us now check out my streaming stats. Some people are asking how I'm making any sort of profit with my live streams. I am a microscopic streamer, but I'm still profiting quite a bit. And the secret, the answer is collaboration. Here's a list of artists or unities that I've signed up to DistroKid. So these are artists that I basically never mentioned on my social media. DistroKid gives me access to daily, weekly, monthly, and even yearly stats for Spotify streams. And so what you're seeing here is a combination of all streams with all of the artists signed up to DistroKid through Spotify. If you want individual artist streams, you just click here and it'll bring you to Spotify for artists. So if you're looking for a way to distribute your music, go with DistroKid. If you do it right, you can make profit off of it. The starting rate is $20 a year. Make sure to check out the 7% discount link in the description. All right, so I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Hope that you subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them in the comments section. If you're here, chances are that you like Teenage Engineering stuff. I've actually left an affiliate purchase link for the OP1 and the OPZ in the description. If you end up purchasing using those links, I actually make a small commission off of that sale at no extra charge to you. That is one of the best ways of supporting this channel. So thanks. Love you guys and hope to see you very, 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 very soon.